Cape Town to Kilimanjaro, Episode 1. The year was 2015 and the world was again debating whether the earth is flat or not. YouTube's algorithm selected me for offerings on arguments for a flat earth. How it sensed my impressionability or IQ, I don't know. At first I was simply amazed at the silliness of the notion. And then I started watching. I was glued to the screen, just as Google intended. They don't care if you believe the earth is flat. They just want you to keep watching. I have traveled around southern Africa before, but was presently suffering symptoms of withdrawal. I spent 2015 on oil rigs, sharing a cubicle with 3 other guys, and discovered agreement with King Solomon. The sleep of a laboring man is sweet. My sleep was dreamless, so I had to dream during the day, staring over the endless ocean, even while hanging upside down. Most of my dreaming was to be back in Africa on my motorcycle, traveling wherever the day would take me. By the end of the year, I convinced my boss that I needed a break to restore my sanity. I had 4 weeks leave, but she believed I required at least 6 weeks to accomplish my stated purpose. I realized that in 6 weeks I can visit family and travel somewhere. I plan to go see the Ngorongoro crater in Tanzania and get a view of Kilimanjaro. I flew from Perth to Cape Town and spent around 12 days with family and friends, but I was reminded of my childhood and the waiting for presents. My present this year, from myself to myself, was a bike trip and was to start the day after Christmas. The wait was as torturous as in my childhood, waiting to exchange gifts in the expectation that my dad would ensure it has wheels, a battery and a motor, especially the motor. In later years they dispensed with a boat or tractor and simply bought me an electric motor to build my own presents. My family was puzzled at my apparent lack of interest in Christmas preparations, as I was mostly staring at maps of Africa. My friends took me up Table Mountain while enticing me to move to Cape Town also. We had a great time and I found such pleasure in the change from my daily conversations on oil rigs. Few of my workmates ever reads a book or know anything except tuning V8 cars and women. There may be 4 TV rooms on an oil rig, each of which are playing football games and reruns of football games. Nobody's interested in the History Channel, the business cycle, the oil price, or philosophy. It's just footy all day long. Footy is like rugby for gay people. The players are so pretty and dress up for every game, 24 hours a day, brainwashing the brain dead. Around this time, the Google gods realized that the flat earth was not relevant anymore and that we should all know about the Russian spy who is trying to become president of the United States. Personally, I thought the flat earth was more interesting and less deceitful. By 2022, everybody knew the spy was not a Russian, nor was he a spy, so the gods of Google had moved on again. Presently, YouTube has removed all but the most absurd flat earth media. Instead, we now debate more pressing issues like the nature of women and how gentlemen can become ladies. Real men suspect that gentleman is halfway there already. But having started, one's transition is soon discovered to be a state, not a phase. Having stopped being a man does not bless one with children or the desire of men, but it allows one to occupy our own special category of martyrdom. In olden times, we knew holy men because of the way they wore their shirts, the wrong way around. They were beyond criticism. They received our reverence and respect. In 2022, we now have a new clergy, a caste of men who stand above criticism, whose morals are impeccable, whose taste cannot be faulted, who redeemed themselves from white guilt and racism, the only sin in the world. Just like in olden times, we recognize these men from the way they wear their shirts. White men have no real choice in the matter. Either remain guilty or get castrated. We cannot do blackface or identify as Mexican. That would be wrong. But pretending to be women, that is perfectly honorable and will earn you the redemption from the woke mob, even though God will not provide you with a womb. God may not provide you with salvation either, but since government is your God, you can now pee wherever you want and swim with the girls. Or we can just remain men and glory in the hatred of those who imitate everything we say, everything we are, and everything we do.
All my life, I've lived by a code. And the code is simple. Honor the gods, love your woman, and defend your country.
Let the mob grow purple hair and castrate itself. Statistically, this is such a fulfilling outcome that among trans people, those who don't try to kill themselves is as much as 50%. As I sat atop Table Mountain, 2015 was running out fast and I was staring north looking for Kilimanjaro. I made 2 observations supporting different theories. I could see the earth is flat and yet I could not see Kilimanjaro. Maybe it hides behind the horizon, then the earth must be round, or perhaps is diminished beyond the vanishing point if the earth is flat. Either of these explanations will hide stuff like Kilimanjaro, if there is a Kilimanjaro. Who know these things? Aristotle believed anything can be discovered by deduction and logic. So Newton deduced that the earth is a sphere. NASA seemed to agree with Newton, and SpaceX launched a Tesla on a rocket to prove the earth is flat, or not flat, or a Tesla is flat, or something. Even though the horizon does not appear to be curved, we know that space is curved, because Einstein said so. He said so because otherwise gravity exists, and since not even Newton could explain gravity, Einstein changed the name. Next time your motorcycle falls over, don't blame gravity. Blame the space-time continuum. Politicians do the same thing. They presently change the definition of a recession to prevent us from having one. But in fact, your bike will still fall over. Whatever you name the cause, the effect will be the same. The ancients believed the earth is a flat disk like a pancake with a magnetic mountain stuck in the middle. They never found the mountain because it's cold up there. But most recently, various expeditions in 1831 and in 1903 found the magnet, though it was not a mountain, and they did not find it in the same place. The US Strategic Air Command explored the Arctic area, but their findings were classified top secret, just to make the flat earthers more suspicious. In 1996, the Canadian government decided to give it a go and found the pole in yet a different location. It has traveled 1100 kilometers during the past century. If not for Top Gear, who finally found the pole in 2007, we may never have had conclusive proof. But now we can be certain, because we saw it with our own eyes on TV. Being a flat earther and believing the earth is flat is not necessarily the same thing. Just like being Catholic does not mean Nancy Pelosi is pro-life. Saying we follow the science does not require us to look at data. Evolutionists blame Hitler for implementing their faith, while science should not be taken so literally. The World Health Organization warns people to avoid outdoor fresh air and sunshine. We all believe with some economy. Christians agree that Jesus took away our guilt, but to give up sinning is a struggle. Greenies believe CO2 destroyed the environment, but they perambulate in private jets. Republicans believe in fiscal responsibility, but support the Federal Reserve. Atheists believe in the laws of science, except for that one time, in the beginning, when effect preceded cause. Being a flat earther means different things to different people, but one point of agreement is that the settled science is argued from authority. 2 fictitious ideas. Settled science is not science, and authorities keep demonstrating such a lack of integrity that unbelieving the establishment is the safest bet. In some ways, we should all be flat earthers. In many ways, we all are. But unlike most of us, real flat earthers have stopped caring what you think of them. They experience the freedom to wonder, to test, to doubt, to verify, and to believe. A Polish philosopher said, "To believe with certainty, we have to begin by doubting." Have you ever doubted anything? Or do you follow the science, the network news, the politician? You may one day discover you believed more fables than the flat earther. Or, what is worse, you may not discover it. I left Cape Town on my way to Kilimanjaro, but stayed over in Bloemfontein that evening with a school friend of mine. Some of our teachers used to tell him, "You will not amount to anything," but many of them ended up working for him after discovering their retirement provisions were eroded by inflation. He has a beautiful house, cars, bikes and aircraft, but he is also responsible for the well-being of 52 families. As I was admiring his success and stuff, to my surprise he confessed his jealousy of my freedom. Of course, he did not clearly understand that I was jailed on a scaffold for a year to earn this freedom, but I also realized that no matter how good or bad you think someone else's life is, we all have challenges and joys. Envy is not a deadly sin for nothing. It is what drives most of politics and war. The real challenge is to desire what you have, and presently my desire was to ride my bike to Kilimanjaro. I crossed the border to Mozambique in the afternoon and headed for Maputo, because I realized I would need to see a dentist as I had lost a crown from one tooth. To find a sober dentist, I had to wait a day or two. I booked myself into Terminus Hotel. I was going to discover the delicious difference between civilization and the third world. If you subscribe, you will learn all about it.